Hello, fellow writers, and welcome back to my channel. I have not posted a video since last November, which has been almost a year at this point. So I have a really quick, a very quick where I've been, and then we can launch right into the material. I do not intend to make this intro very long, but before we get into it, if you're new here, or if it's just been long enough that you've forgotten, because goodness knows I have been out of it for a while. Hi, hello, I'm Joanna G. Holden, and I am an author tuber, and I write Christian fantasy. I am a mommy author as well, and I am in the middle of my self-publishing journey. Today's video is really just going to focus on author life, on getting back to writing in a consistent and productive way. If you guys remember, the last couple of videos that I did were my NaNoWriMo series. I actually won Nano with 50,000 words, and I was very excited. But I ended that series with a feeling of confusion. And I expressed it at the end of the final video, a very, honestly, lengthy cut of me just rambling about how exhausted and overwhelmed and struggling just to cope with life that I was, and not understanding why and not being sure how I was going to continue with trying to make writing a priority if I couldn't figure out what was going on. Well, turns out I was sick and I didn't know it. I had this experience, and about the end of October, all of a sudden, I just lost all of my energy and my brain fogged up, and I couldn't deal with things like I normally dealt with things. And what I did not know was that with the return of the cooler weather and the condensation in our little camper that we were living in, I ended up getting mold poisoning. And apparently mold poisoning is quite serious. Thank God it was not life-threatening. None of us were sick to the point of being that ill, but my husband and I both took a hard hit from it. Somehow the kids didn't. They were fine. They were still bouncing off the walls and perfectly happy. I guess young kids' immune systems, or maybe just wasn't as bad in their rooms. I have no idea. Whatever happened, by the end of the year, I was not okay, and I didn't know what was wrong with me. Fast forward to February of this year, and I had a breakdown, a complete spiral into the closest that I think that I have personally ever been to an actual breakdown. I don't know if I can describe it that way, but it was bad. It was really bad. That was when we finally were able to get the diagnosis, mold poisoning. This is what mold does to certain people, and you happen to be one of those people. Basically, it attacks your mind. And while my body was experiencing all the exhaustion, my brain was starting to lose it. And I was experiencing anxiety, depression, panic attacks, all of these, dizziness. I was having sensory overload continuously from the smallest little things. I took that very seriously. Again, thank God for his providence. My in-laws actually were the ones who were able to help get me some help for that. And I was seeing an amazing doctor at that time who had also been through something similar and was able to get me help for that. And we moved out of the camper in March, another huge praise. We've been looking for a house for months, and we finally were able to get everything figured out. We moved into it very quickly. We were out of the mold by the middle of March, end of March, and it was wonderful. However, the road to recovery was way longer than I had thought it would be, and was quite difficult. Again, I did not know any of this. I had no idea. Mold poisoning takes a while to get over. I believe it took about 3 months to get to where I was feeling like I was functioning at not normal, but I was functioning enough that it wasn't like a constant source of concern. And I was able to take care of my family during that time enough that, like, you know, Dad could still go to work and we could still get a paycheck every week. But then right as I started coming out of it physically and only had the mental to deal with, we found out we were pregnant again. Surprise pregnancy. We had planned on getting pregnant again at some point, but had thought, we'll wait until I'm finished dealing with all of this. Turns out that the pregnancy has actually helped me to push through a lot of this, because I kind of just had to. And so we are fine. I am happy. I am healthy. As we are ending the month of September, I am actually about the closest to normal that I have been really the entirety of the year, even back to last October. So within a full year, I am almost completely recovered. It's actually kind of hard to tell right now because of the pregnancy symptoms. I'm not sure where I would be without that, or again, if it actually did push me in ways that I had not anticipated. But all of that happened, and writing took a major backseat. And I mean, it was way back there. It was in the trunk. It was hanging onto the tailgate for dear life. And it was sad because I wanted to write, but I could not handle writing because of just the mental drain that it took on me. So I took a little bit of a break, a couple month break, and then I slowly started kind of easing back into it a little bit here and a little bit there, but I still was really struggling with it. And then over the summer, I finally started making some leaps and bounds in recovery of the writing as well. Well, come now, we are in September. We started school nice and strong. I hit second trimester energy right in time for starting school. Like, honestly, the timing is perfect. And that should last me until the end of this school semester, which is, again, it's perfect. I love the timing. It actually works out very well. So this past week was the third week into our school semester, and I finally felt in a good enough rhythm with school to try and write every day and push to the midpoint of the novel. I got stuck at the end of last year, just past the end of Act 1, and I kind of slowly eked my way up to about 2/3 of the way through the novel over the course of the spring and the summer, and I only had a handful of scenes left, and I wanted to see if I could push through and get those written by the end of that week so that I could start October with the second half of the book and push to write that by the end of the year, which may seem like a big goal, but by the end of this video, you will understand why it actually isn't as big of a goal as writing's first half was. So be ready for that. Okay, let us take you to Tuesday morning when I started this vlog. Good morning, everyone. It is a beautiful, beautiful Tuesday in September. There's actual cloud coverage today, which means that it's not going to be searingly hot. It's still going to get in the 90s, but it's better than triple digits, which is what it's been since like the end of May. And I am excited because I'm going to be working on writing today. This week, I am determined, is the week that I am finally going to get my novel to that coveted halfway mark. I have, I think, a handful of scenes left, and I really want to just push and make that effort to get to the halfway point this week so that I can start drafting the second half of the novel. I'm working right now on my YA fairy tale retelling, and it's been going really well. Way too stuffed with both words and scenes, and just, it's too big. It's already almost at 80,000 words, which is what the entire novel is supposed to be. So yeah, that's not ideal. But I did some math, and I figured out about how long my average scenes are, which is between 2,000 and 2,500, which is between 2,000 and 2,500 words, and how many scenes then I could do in each quarter of the book to land between the 80 to 85,000 word mark at the end. And I got really close. I spent last week finishing my outline, or getting very close. There's like 2 or 3 scenes at the very end of the book. I'm not sure how they need to go, but I got most of it done, and I got very close to the amount of scenes I was supposed to have in the third quarter, which is what I'm going to be getting into, hopefully, fingers crossed, next week. And I'm very encouraged that yesterday, the scene that I wrote was only 1,400 words instead of 2,500. So there is hope. There is hope for this overwriter yet. But we have a lot of stuff to do before then. Clearly, I have to finish getting ready. I'm sorry for the noise. They're fixing the road right outside of our window, like a stone's throw away. And it's been really annoying because it's that pounding the pavement part where they haven't put the asphalt down yet, and they're just going over it, and it's vibrating our whole house. And I'm trying really hard to just stay calm and not let it bother me, because I don't like that. My brain really doesn't like it, but it comes and it goes. At least it gives me a little bit of a break. Anyway, this morning we have school. That is the first and foremost priority, is just to get school done. I homeschool, got 3 kids, and we have been doing really well. We've been doing school for about 2 weeks now. This is our 3rd week. I always wait to start in September. And it's been going well, but just making sure we get everything done in time, plus all of the things that mommy needs to do for myself, like eating in the middle of it, to try and make sure that I'm keeping up my protein for baby, because we're pregnant again. Just all the little things. This morning, I'm just got to get out of the way first. And then the afternoon is going to be mommy's time. And I am going to be working on 3 priorities. The first is yoga or Pilates or some kind of exercise. I really need to make sure that I am continuously working on building up muscle and on maintaining strength so that I have that strength at the end of this pregnancy. And that I'm also, making sure that my body is the healthiest it can be during pregnancy. And then the second would be reading. I've been working so hard on trying to finish my the book that I've been reading for like 2 years. I'm not always the best reader, and I have finished some books since I started this other book, and I want to finish it. It's a good story, and I want to finish it, and I haven't. So I've been working on making sure that I'm consistent in my reading. So that is definitely a priority today as well. And then, of course, the biggest of the 3 is writing. I want to write a minimum of, let's say, 1,500 words. But right now, I'm not really going by word count. I'm going more by scene count. I would like to write a scene today. Like I said, I have a handful, I think 3 to 4 scenes left, and I have about 3 to 4 days left in our work week, our school week, and I would really like to be able to finish it by the weekend so I can dive into the second half of the book next week. So I'm not going to take you guys with me through the whole day because, dishes and laundry can only be so exciting. And school, I have enough trouble keeping everyone's focus where it needs to be without a camera. But after lunch, I'm going to grab the camera again, and I'm going to take you guys through the afternoon schedule that I am attempting to piece together. It's funny, the school schedule has stuck. Like, it's working. It's doing well. Literally everything else, trying to fit it around that schedule is the tricky part, especially the mommy stuff that's like non-essential, as in it's not like eating. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go start on that, and I will get with you guys in a little bit, and we'll see how we're going. All right, we've made it through the morning. We are now into our afternoon schedule, and things are going pretty smoothly. We've managed to get everything done that we needed to. Mommy ate, kids ate, everybody's in their quiet times now. I am fixing a little protein snack to fuel me for the afternoon, but I'm feeling very tired, and something that I just have to keep reminding myself of as I go through second trimester is that even though I have more energy right now, my body is still making a baby. So I have to make sure that I'm listening to my body's cues and taking rest when I need. So I'm going to take about 15 to 20 minutes, do some laundry here in my room, just fold some stuff, put things away, and then sit and eat. But right after that, after the quiet time is done, is when I think I'll set the kids up with something to play with in the living room, and I will sit down. So we have a hot chocolate quinoa protein bowl. And since it is that time of year, we are watching You've Got Mail, of course. And of course, also the pile of laundry. And the sun is out. Woo! That is just frustrating. And see, this is one of the problems. I have just written 3 little paragraphs of in-between narration to transition me from the scenes that have just happened into the scene that's about to happen, to kind of gloss over a few weeks of time. And I'm already at 404 words, and I was hoping that this entire scene was going to take me about 1,000 words. I'm trying really hard not to panic about word count and just let myself write the story as I need to. But I get really tired of being an overwriter sometimes. Let's just see if we can make it through. All right, we are sitting at a total of 1,719 words for this section. It's definitely more than I had wanted,
but it's still fewer than 2,000, and I got the scene finished. I did an entire scene in the day, which is exactly what I wanted. I can go back in the rewrite. I can trim both of these scenes down so that they fit very nicely into a chapter. I am happy. I am very happy. But now I need to email this to myself so that I have a backup copy of it. I need to figure out food for the night, and I really need to get on to the next important session of the day, which is yoga. I need to stretch out. Oh, but first I have to fill out my chart for the day. Also, something I have been doing is when I'm done with a scene, I go ahead and I pull up the next scene card and I highlight it and I copy and paste it over to the other document. And then I put it on here so that it's ready to go the next day to write. So I printed this off of one of the Preptober workbooks, or maybe it was a Camp NaNoWriMo workbook. And each square is worth 100 words. I did not include the outlining that I did because I just didn't want to bother with that. But obviously, I'm changing each day. I change color. And this way, I don't have to see all the days that I didn't write. I only get to see the days that I did write. And I can just be very proud of myself for having actually written, even if I didn't get to write every day in a week. Okay, I got 2 of the things off the list, writing and a workout. Not on my husband's colossal machine, but I did a workout. But before I finish up the evening with reading, I wanted to get something way back in the spring. I think it was spring. I made a fiction reading. I don't think it was just fiction. I think it was just a reading bingo board to try and get a whole bunch of books read this year. And needless to say, between life just being crazy and me not having a printer for a very long time, I didn't get it printed. And I wasn't pushing myself to do the reading. And today I really want to do that. So before food is done and I go outside for a walk, I want to just real quickly print that off and mark off any books that I have already read this year and completed, which I think is just the one, and go ahead and put that up somewhere where I can be inspired by it. There it is. Okay, pardon the singing in the background. My girls have been singing the Miraculous Ladybug movie musical songs for like 2 weeks now. But this is my reading bingo that I made. And I basically took all of the different kinds of books I really wanted to read, and I put them all in here. Some of them are ones that I already knew I was going to be reading, like the book that I'm currently still trying to finish, as well as the book from the friend that I finished earlier in the spring, the Robert Jordan piece that I really wanted to, that I've already started, as well as I really wanted to do some Agatha Christie this fall. But then I knew I needed to continue reading writing craft, and I really wanted to get into a C.S. Lewis nonfiction. They're so good. There's also some people that I really wanted to support. So doing an AuthorTuber novel and then a Realmy novel. The Realmies are a group that I'm on, or that I'm a part of on Facebook, that are Christian fantasy authors. And then some others like historical nonfiction I really need to be reading. And I have a bunch that I would love to be able to do. But then a couple of others that are just like random, like an espionage thriller. It's a genre that I've never read that I really want to because I love it in movie form. A book that got turned into a movie, period drama, a Sanderson novel. I've been wanting to read Sanderson for years at this point. Cottagecore vibes. I'm not even sure what I'm going to read for that, but just something fun, you know? And then, of course, a biography because I love the stories of other people. And author business. I think that speaks for itself. I have like a whole shelf of those right now that I really need to read at some point. Clearly, I'm not going to make all of these in 2023, but maybe what I'll do is around Christmas time, I'll redo it with 2024, and I'll just fill it back in and I'll repost it. But for now, we're going to mark off the Friends book that I read, which was, as I mentioned, a fairy tale retelling. And I'll just do that instead of like crossing it off and stuff because I feel like that's prettier. And then I'll just put one of those on and then go across. And obviously, like, I'm not going to hit bingo soon because the one I'm reading is way down here. But maybe I'll go back and try and finish the next Eye of the World book and maybe kind of work my way down, and I can fit my Agatha Christie in there and stuff. We'll see. This is going to go up probably next to my bookshelf in my room. There's not really a great place to put this in the house, honestly. But this, we'll just find a place for it.
Yeah, I was trying to get half to get the blue jump. That'll only give us.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Wednesday morning went so well for us today. Just so smoothly. I've been doing better at keeping up with things like the dishes and just general kind of upkeep in the kitchen, dining room, schoolroom area over the last couple of days. And that has helped so much. I don't have to clear clutter or do a quick load of dishes or anything in the morning before school. We can just dive right in. And it was absolutely lovely this morning. And now we are having quiet time. I have fixed myself another protein snack in a fall mug. I'm just loving using the fall mugs. This one is so heavy duty. I love it. And I think that I'm going to do the same thing that I did yesterday. I'm going to spend the quiet time hour genuinely just relaxing. And then I really want to make Play-Doh with the kids. I've been meaning to make Play-Doh, homemade Play-Doh with them forever. And we finally have all the stuff to make it. So I think we're going to do that right afterward. And then while the kids are playing with the Play-Doh, I will sit at the table with them and I will write. I can write that today. Then tomorrow's scene will be the big, thick, chunky one that should be probably closer to like 2,500 to 3,000. And that one is from the main character's point of view, and it features an antagonist that we haven't seen on the page for quite some time. And it's going to be a different experience because in previous scenes, this antagonist has been quite formidable. And in this scene, they're going to be a little bit more fish out of water vibes we got going on with them, which is going to be different. And it's going to be interesting and falsely empowering to the protagonist, lure them into a sense of victory before things are going to start going downhill again. I love it. I love it so much. And then the final scene is going to be a reaction to that big midpoint scene where everything kind of gets tied up a little bit and we start launching into the next sequence of events. So I'm excited. I'm going to quit jabbering on now and get to my treat, which I'm very much looking forward to, and some relaxation. What do you think, Judy? Do you like the Play-Doh? It turned out a perfect.
Very mushy and stinky.
Stinky. It turned out a perfect consistency though, and the color is gorgeous. What are you making, Bubby? What are you making?
Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna make like a pizza dough with it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are you doing?
I'm gonna make some noodles.
Ooh, noodles. What color is yours?
Noodles.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna make it big. Like this. Get Judy did. This is a pizza. All I need is a little pizza. I'm gonna make a little candle. How much oil did you put in Anderson's?
Not very much.
Ah.
Okay, that was a really good writing session. I actually ended up being able to get a lot written quickly. And funny story, this whole section that I just wrote, this whole scene, I did finish the whole scene, which was the goal, was only 1,097 words. So I actually overestimated how many words it was going to take. And I liked the scene. It was, like I said, or did I say? I think I said, from the love interest perspective, it's his mirror moment, his moment where he looks at himself and realizes, okay, this isn't working. I'm going to have to change if I want things to work out for the better. We did get a little tiny bit of an emotional breakthrough for him as well, like an outburst. He is by nature and by skill set an incredibly composed person. I mean, he's the king. He has been raised his whole life not to repress emotions, but to be able to express himself without losing himself to his emotions because people expect it of him. What is it the queen says from Princess Diaries? Everyone else loses it. We're supposed to be the ones who find it. Like, that's who he is. And so he very rarely has an emotional outburst. And he has just a second of one in this scene. And it's not like a full-on meltdown. We're saving that for much later. That I'm a very firm believer that emotional outbursts, particularly in more stoic characters or more emotionally controlled characters, really need to be earned and need to be worked up to, with things compounding other things and complications and stress build up until finally there's a reason for the dam to burst. A lot of talking. I have not done yoga yet today, and it is 4:45 as that goes. And I almost forgot to fill out my colors. All right, that's, 3, 6, 9, 1,000, yeah. Well, good morning. It is now Thursday, and I'm not really sure what happened last night, but I crashed hard. I was feeling pretty good, and then about 7:30, 7:45, my brain just started feeling really tired. Like I could almost feel it as a muscle just aching from being used too much. And I did get a couple of pages read, but I pretty much just got the kids to bed and then crashed. I was useless the rest of the night. I'm not really sure if it was that I should have taken a nap during the afternoon because I didn't really feel that tired and I really didn't feel like I was pushing it that hard. Sometimes it's difficult, especially when you're pregnant, because you can never tell what your body's going to do, to gauge like how much to push yourself. Like if this is I'm just being lazy and I need to go ahead and do stuff. Or if it's like no, you really need to sit down kind of thing. So I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and have my lunch now. It is 11:20. It's 11:20. Okay. So I think that I'll go ahead and have lunch now, wash up the dishes, get the kids lunch made, get them fed, do our read aloud together, get them set up for quiet time. And then I'll go ahead and have the protein bowl while I write, and I'll try writing a little bit and then relaxing and maybe having a little bit of a dozing. Maybe I won't sleep, but I'll at least rest and go screen free and sound free and try to just give my body a break from senses. And then I'll try writing again after that. And I'll see if that little break helps. And then I'll plan to eat something about 4-ish, whether we're having supper early or not. I'm just going to go ahead and eat something proteiny. That should help a lot. And I will talk to you guys this afternoon when I start my writing. Okay. So, all right, it didn't let me, for some reason, the Word document did not let me calculate my words when I wrote that first section right after lunch, but I ended up writing 665 words. It's letting me now. And then I did lay down to take a nap, and oh boy, apparently I really needed it. But I didn't realize how badly I did until I had been laying down for an hour and just didn't want to get back up. So I did make myself get up. I had another snack, I had an egg and a bunch of water. And then I sat down with my computer again, and the dragging of the feet began. It was work to write what I wrote, and I am about halfway, I want to say, through the scene. I'm at 998 words, and we're just getting to the good stuff. So it's a court scene. Not court as in like courtroom, but court as in like the royal court, where this antagonist character, who is Eliza's guardian from her home country, has arrived and is basically dragging her out in front of everyone to try and intimidate her into coming back to the place where she has previously had multiple attempts made on her life. So, and she's in a hot seat because there are already a bunch of questions in this country that she's in right now. Why is she being given sanctuary? What are the details surrounding her fleeing this other country? Like, why can't she talk? All of these different things that are already making people kind of like unsure what they think about her. And the guardian character really has every legitimate right to just take her home. So it's going to come down to the young king, who was also in a hot seat because he has not been given a ton of room to really prove himself as a king yet. He's been kind of over, what's the word? Not overprotected, but like kind of suffocated in everybody trying to be his mentor and trying to help him, and really not handing him the big cases, so to speak. Like, that's not at all but you know what I mean? Like, he hasn't really been allowed to be the king the way that he needs to. So if he makes any big decisions right here, this is a big moment for him, which perfectly ties in with the scene that I had just written, his mirror moment scene, where he's realizing, I can't help anybody if I don't decide to actually be the king. Like, I have to do the thing. I can't just be a puppet for all of these, bureaucrats. I have to do it myself. But again, it's a courtroom scene, and I personally have never been in a royal court, and I only have historical dramas and stuff to draw from and other fantasies. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this scene goes through rewrites. I'm actually very curious how I'm going to have to chop this up. But for now, it's good. I ended it at a place where I feel pretty comfortable that I can pick right back up. I was scheduled to call a writer friend and have a fun writer chat for the afternoon while I'm washing dishes and cooking supper. That's typically what we do, is we both work while we talk stories. And then I think I'm going to wait until after supper and see if Daddy can kind of take over the kids for me, and like completely. Like, obviously, we dual parent the kids when he's home, but like see if he can kind of take more of the load right now, and just I'll be able to sit down and write some. Maybe I'll come back here to the bedroom. Maybe I'll try writing in my office. I have an office. I don't know if I've said that. It's a disaster zone right now because we had company and I chucked a whole bunch of stuff in there that I didn't know what to do with, and I just haven't done anything with it. So it's still a disaster. And I don't have a cushion for my poor little pregnant bum. So I haven't. Long story short, I'm going to write. Oh my gosh. This is Thursday. I'm telling you. Thursday is the day that the babbling starts and I start falling apart, and I will not be back to 100% productivity until Monday. Monday, I will be on fire. Until then, it's going to be interesting. I am going to close the computer, turn off the phone, go make my call, and just see what happens. And I will get back with you guys. I have zero chance of yoga happening today. Because by the time my call is done, it'll be supper time. And then the most exercise I want to do after that is probably going on a walk. So I'll probably just go on a walk. So one of my things is definitely not getting done today. But I should be able to still have some brain cells left for reading tonight. So I'll let you guys know how that goes. And if I get more writing done, I'll let you know too. Okay, it is now 8 o'clock. I've had supper, been on a walk, and I've actually been writing for about 20 minutes. And I have gotten up to close to the end of the scene. I've got maybe, I'm not sure how much I have left. I'm guessing I have fewer than 500 words left because I am like right at the end of the outline, but it's a very emotional, important moment. And while I do need to just push through, I also don't want to just like rush through. So I just joined a 30-minute sprint on a Discord group that I'm a part of fellow Christian mommy authors, and I'm going to write, and so I think I'm going to write on there just until the scene is done, and then I'm going to pack it up and I'm going to get the kiddos ready for bed. I actually just called them in because it was getting dark. They were having so much fun outside. I didn't want to take away from that, but yeah, I'll get back with you when I have finished writing and kind of let you know what my thoughts are. Okay, I am sorry for the terrible lighting in here, and there may be a bit of an echo. This room is not fully furnished yet, but this is technically my office. Hopefully by the next time you see it, it will be clean and actually decorated more than just aesthetics and random notebooks. But this is my office for now. Anyways, I got on the sprint and I sprinted for about half an hour. I didn't write the whole time I was on the sprint, but I did write for a good portion of it. And I ended up getting 1,200 more words in, 1,200-ish more words in, which landed that scene, so that new chapter, at 2,280 words total. So for the entire day, I wrote 2,948 words, which I think is really cool. It's been a while since I've hit a 3K day, and that felt really good. So I am now very exhausted. It's 9 o'clock. It's been the latest that I've written in a while. The last time that I wrote this late, I didn't go to sleep until 4 a.m. the next morning. So I'm really hoping that this has not gotten me too wired. I'm going to make sure that I eat some good protein-heavy snacks before bed to kind of help me just calm down and go to sleep, and count baby to go to sleep. And I'm going to read some now. I'm going to go do the reading, and hopefully that will kind of help calm my brain down too. But yeah, it went very well. I'm not sure at all that I like this scene. I think this scene is probably going to get rewritten several times until it reaches perfection. But the first draft is not about the perfection. It's not even about being good. It's about getting the story on the page, and I definitely did that. I know enough about what's happening in the scene now to be able to go back and rewrite it. So we did it. The big scary thing. We actually did it. So I'm going to head to bed now, and I will talk with you all tomorrow to see what the final work day of the week is going to look like. Okay, hello everyone. It is now Monday of the following week. I had a lovely weekend. And as a recap, I did get a smidge of writing, but I did not finish my goal of finishing the first half of the book last week. Friday morning, I woke up and I felt like I was coming down with something. I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew that I needed to make my health a priority. So I took the day mostly off. I mean, obviously, I did school with the kids, and I made food and stuff. And I did do a little bit of writing. I think I got about 387 words written, but I decided to just leave it at that. And I spent the rest of the afternoon just resting in bed. I did some reading. I watched some TV with my family. We just had a very relaxed, chill day. Saturday and Sunday both felt like good days to also take as rest days. I was feeling very tired, especially Sunday. I did not sleep particularly well Saturday night, and we had to be up early to go to church, and then there was a couple of other things we were doing, and it just ended up being a much busier, faster weekend than I thought it was going to be. So I am now sitting down looking at the manuscript. It's actually, I think, not a bad thing that I didn't finish last week, because really I need to focus most of this week on reading. I am part of a critique group that meets on Zoom once a month, and our meeting is coming up, and I have procrastinated on reading all the sections and doing my very detailed critique that I like to give and leaving comments on the Google Docs and everything. So I really need to spend this week mostly going through those critiques, and I wanted to spend some of this week prepping the next chapter for my selection for next month. I've been going through the early chapters of Swan Song and going ahead and rewriting and trimming down and all the things. But I figure, you know what, I have 1 week left in September, and then I can start off October with that second half, and it'll kind of be very symmetrical. So I'm not really worried about it, but I do need to go ahead and get that written. So let's get started, and I should be able to fit in a good chunk of writing. My oldest two are with Daddy, going and picking up something that they got for free for the family, and my youngest is quite busy doing his own thing. So, because apparently mommy isn't fun enough to always do the things with them. You know how it is. So let's get started with the writing, and then I will come back and give you the update. That was such a good writing session. I felt I could not have gone better. Sometimes it just happens. Like, it took me about 5 minutes to get my head into space, and then it just kind of happened, and it was very exciting. This afternoon, I ended up writing 1,330 words and finished the scene. Again, it ended up being a perfect scene. It was a scene between the young king and the main character, the princess, and their just ongoing slow burn turning into friendship that's eventually going to turn into something more. And I love it. I love it so much. Combined with Friday's 387, I ended up with a total word count of 1,717 words for the scene. And here is the frustrating part. So the total for this entire first half of the book that is now complete is, and pardon the stomping my kids are doing, if you're happy and you know it, in the living room, and you can hear everything in this house. The total words for this first half are 84,001 words, which, if I count the 2 short prologues that I have decided to include with this book, that is exactly how long the whole friggin' book is supposed to be. I am trying really hard not to be too hard on myself. I know that the first draft is literally just, what is that one metaphor? Putting sand in the sandbox so you can make the sandcastle. So I can add way too much sand and it'll be fine. What has me a little bit stressed is the understanding that I still have another half of the story left to go. And I'm just the idea of having to write another 80,000 words to figure out the book. I cannot fit 80,000 words into this year. So the goal for the rest of the writing process of this first draft is going to be conciseness. I'm going to have to be as succinct with all of my words as possible and make sure that I'm not adding in any plot points that don't need to be there. The outlining process has already helped significantly. Just having done, and I'm sorry, I can't remember if I mentioned this before, so let me just run this by you guys again. If I did, I'll just cut this out in editing. But I did some math to figure out about how many words per scene I was writing, and then how many words I was needing to have in each of the 4 quarters of the book, which is how I outline. Instead of like Act 2 being the big chunk, I do just 4 quarters. And then reversely, if each chapter or each scene takes these many words and each act needs these many words, how many scenes per act I need. And that helped a lot with the outlining. It helped so much. So my hope is I can stick to that, especially since the last handful of scenes have actually been shorter than I thought they were going to be. Like, I've had multiple scenes now that have been under the 2,000 word mark, which is really good, because if they're a little bit shorter, then I can maybe get away with having some additional scenes spread throughout the book. Even if I technically don't have room for them in my outline, I could still get away with it. But I'm choosing not to worry, even though I am a little worried. I'm choosing to not worry because I know that it'll all come out in the wash. This is what the rewrite is for. And I had a really great week. It felt so good to be able to film again. I haven't done this in so long. I haven't felt free to do this. When, last year happened and all the crazy and all the stress, I was starting to have a lot of anxiety around filming and around YouTube because I felt all of the overwhelm and the clouding of my mind. And I was really struggling with wrapping my brain around something like making a video. And now that that is gone, the excitement has come back. And I don't know that I'm going to be posting, a video a week from now on. Probably not. Probably once a month will be more than enough. But it feels so good to be back and to be able to make videos and to be able to share this writing experience that I so look forward to and love watching from other people's perspectives and other writers and gleaning inspiration and ideas and motivation. So I hope that you enjoyed this. If you do, please be sure to give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. I probably will mention all of this in the intro since it's easier to put there than at the tail end. But I love you all very much, and I will see you in my next video.